And a warm welcome to all of you. So today we will carry on with the Bootstrap class 2. And today we will be starting with CSS. Oh, sorry, Bootstrap Grid. So we'll wait for some time. We'll wait for 1 to 2 minutes, then we will start the session so that rest of the people will join. So now we'll start the session because already it's a festival of Holi going on. So let us start with today's session. And today we will continue from where we have stopped yesterday. So this is where we have stopped yesterday. Now let us um, open with live server. Okay, so this is the setup where we have finished. Now, okay. So now what we do, let us have a look. Okay, so for this thing, we need to refer the official webpage of Bootstrap. So here we have the introduction. So here, if you have noticed one thing, 1 second. Okay, that is in download. Okay, so we have taken two type of files. Content. Yes. So we have taken two type of files, And in these files, if you have noticed, we have selected in the link tag bootstrap.css. Now, why we have selected bootstrap.css when we have so many files to select? So there is a specific reason, because that file contains each and everything. Okay. So if you see here, this particular file contains the layout, this particular file contains the content, this particular file contains the component, and this particular file contains the utilities also. Now, if you see here, bootstrap dot rtl.cs. So RTL, here you see RTL is right to left. For in countries where people used to write from right to left, they link this particular kind of a file which includes all these things. So similarly in JS, we have added bootstrap.bundle.js, which includes the popper feature. Okay, which includes the popper feature also. So for this particular thing, one second. So for this particular thing, we have this thing now. Okay. So by now we have checked both the ways, where we have to where how to attach the bootstrap, and the second one is how to download the bootstrap. So these are the two ways in which we can add bootstrap. Now we see the responsiveness. What is a responsive web design? Okay, so the main task of bootstrap is to make the web page responsive. Okay, now what is responsive? Actually, I'm telling responsive. Now, what is responsive? So let us see what is responsive with the help of some examples. Okay, earlier, what is happening, there are different sites for desktop and mobile devices. Okay, and they use a common database. Okay, the database is common. For example, Facebook. So earlier they use facebook.com for their desktop version or laptop version, and m.facebook.com for their mobile version. But the source is common. They use a common database. So, but only the link is different. Now, after this thing, um, let us see some example. What is a responsive web design? So here, if you see, this is a website which is opening in desktop or laptop. Now the same website here, if you see, is in tab. Now it is in vertical tab. So here these four articles. Okay, now here there are only three. Okay, and here when in a mobile device, all have changed into a block pattern, and now they are using the 100% of the width. So that is called as responsiveness. Automatically, depending upon the content, it adjust themselves. So that is how you can call it as a responsiveness. So you do not need to have different websites for different devices. A common website with responsiveness fits to all the devices. So that is how this thing will work. Okay, now after this thing, let us have a different example. Okay, so here if you see, when this website is in a mobile device, it is using the 100% of the width. See, 100% of the width. Now same on a on a tablet, it is using 100%, and four are using 50%. Now when it comes to the desktop, you can see the difference, how it works like that. Okay, now after this thing, let us have another example. So here if you see, in this particular example, okay, now one more thing I just want to add. Now these days smart watches also plays a very important role, because it also started supporting some websites. Okay, so for that particular thing, this thing is also again being managed by the responsiveness. So because here we don't have any constraint of the dimension, because these days from smart watches to the ultra wide screen, extra large screen, ultra wide screens, so many things are available. Every the demand for each and everything will be fulfilled by the responsiveness, which is being managed totally by the grid system. Okay, so internally this grid system manage the responsiveness. So that is the beauty of Bootstrap, that only some classes will make the website responsive. You do not need to write n number of media queries for different dimensions here. So that is how things work like that. Okay. So here you see we have a website. So here you see we have a website which looks like this in a desktop. Okay. And in a tablet it looks like a dick here. Now in the mobile it looks like this. Now see, the items are aligning themselves automatically, and in the smartwatch you see it looks like this. So that is how things are aligning, or I can say items are aligning automatically depending upon the screen size, or I can use a different word, the dimension of the screen. So that is called as a responsive web design. One second. Fine. Now, after this thing, okay, so I have another example. Let us discuss that also. Now, see here. This particular header is using 100% of the width, 100% of the width. Now, three articles, these three sections and articles you see are in a row pattern. Row pattern means from left to right, but in tablet view, see, it is in a block pattern. And in the mobile view, it is totally in a block pattern. So that is how things are aligned. Now here, don't understand like this that there is a different website for different thing, different website for different thing, different website for different. No, it is not like that. Only some classes will make the website responsive. So that is how things are going here. Okay. Now after this thing, let us, okay. Now here, okay. Now all these things are managed by Bootstrap through their grid system, which seems that different pages designed for separate devices. Now here what customer is assuming that for my particular smartwatch, a different kind of designing is there. For my tablet, different kind of designing. For my mobile, no, it is not like that. These all things are managed by the grid system internally. Okay. Now let us check out the grid system here. Now here the okay, so now let us check out grid system. How grid system will work? What are grid system? Okay, so grid system contains mainly of first thing which is called as the breakpoint. Okay, so here grid system contains of breakpoint, container, rows, and columns. So these are the four things which it contains grid system. Fine. So let us 1 second. Okay, so let us see how this system will work like that. Now here, if you see, grid system contains four things. Okay, first one is the breakpoint, second one is the container, third one is the row, and the fourth one is the column. So we have the now what I do. Grid system. So grid system contains of first thing is breakpoint. Second is container. Third is row. Uh, and fourth is column. Okay. So grid system contains of these four things: breakpoint, container, rows, and column. Now, after this thing, what are breakpoints? So let us see what are breakpoints. So here, so breakpoints. mm, Breakpoints, I can say it is a categorization based on the device's width. Okay, a categorization, a differentiation, a division based on the devices. So here earlier we have seen the smartwatch as a device, the mobile as a device, the tablet as a device, or I can say desktop as a device, laptop as a device, and also the extra large screen is also a device because it is also compatible. So starting from the smartwatch to the extra large screen, there is a categorization based on the devices. So it is called as a breakpoint. Okay. And what, so let us have a understanding as what is a category. So here, if you see, 1 second. So this is a categorization based on the devices. So here, for the extra small, we do not use a class infix. So here, as I've told you, Bootstrap is everything about classes. Okay. So here in this thing, only class will make everything possible. So here, if you see, we are not using any class in extra small device. So the dimensions will be less than 576px. So till 576px, we are not using any class. Now after 576px, the breakpoint is small and we use a class as SM. This SM is a class name what we are using. Now after that, we have a breakpoint which is called as medium and we use the class as MD and the dimension will be greater than and equal to 768px. Okay. Now after that, we have the large. For the large, we use the class infix as LG and the range is from 992px to 1199px. So starting from here till -1 from here. And from extra large, we use from 992 to double one. Sorry, from extra large, we use 1200px to 1399px. And for extra large, we use extra large, we use double XL and the dimension will be from 1 to 00 to 1399 or I can say greater than 1400px. So that is how it works like that. Okay. So now second thing is container. Okay. Now here we have the containers. Now what is a container? Now what is a container? So container is, I can say, uh, container is nothing but a wrapper kind of a thing which wraps everything inside it. Okay, so I can say container is the outermost cover or outermost shell which contains each and everything inside it. So that is called as a container. Now, here we have two types of container, but we will see later on that what are the types, what are the use, what are the benefits. Okay. Now, now in order to understand, let us use one concept. Okay. So what we do here, let me have a got container as a class. We have a container, and in this class container, what we do. Okay, so let me show you an example first. We have now see, try to understand something from this particular website. So here, this is a website which is using the 100% of the screen width, but the content is only displaying from this particular section, from here to here. Okay, so the content, so I can say the screen size is 1400 px, but our website, this is only the website, the white portion is using only the 400 px only. So this is a example which I just want to show you. So if I show the inspect part, console, one second. It is actually, it is not showing here, but you yourself can understand, can have an idea that how things are moving here. So the screen size is almost 1400 px, I can say, but the content, the website here you see is only being displayed in the around 400 px screen size. So while the meantime we go further ahead, let me share you the attendance sheet. One second. Yeah, hi D Creations. Good evening here. The day 2 attendance has been showed for your reference. I request you all to please fill right here, right now. Let us wait for a minute for you to fill. Once you fill it, please reply with yes in the comment box so that I am assured that you have filled it. So once you filled, please reply with yes. If someone, okay, so two, okay, four people have filled it. Okay, fine. So let us go ahead with the session. It hide. So here, we are discussing that this particular web page, if you see, okay, this particular web page is around 1400 px wide, but only the content part, which is the white part, is 400 px. So this is a sample. Now let us see. Let us discuss about the row. What is a row? So here row. Okay. So this is a rule also that row will always be inside a container. Okay. It is a rule that row will always be inside a container. First rule is the first thing will always be a container. Second thing is the second point has to be the row, which always has to be inside the container. So these are two basic rules, or I can say the starting rules, which is there. Now after this thing, as soon as we create a class named row, so let us what we do here. So first rule is after body, there has to be a class container, and after container there has to be class the named row. So these are the two basic rules which we need to follow. Now after this thing, as soon as we create a row, we create a class named row in a parent div with class container. What happened? Automatically the whole page will gets divided into 12 equal columns. Okay. So that is how this thing will happen, that whole of the page, this whole of the page will equally divide into 12 equal column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Now, here we have used div class container, div class row. Writing this thing, div class row, it divides whole of the page into 12 equal columns. Okay. Now, after this thing, column. So, column equals to grid. Now, how to read this? Okay. So, let us see. 1 second. Oh, let me see if it is there or not. Okay, so it is not there. Let me show you. See. So here, if you see, as soon as we write row, class row, whole of the page will divide into 12 columns. So you can calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the whole of the page gets divided into 12 columns. Now, if I have to use, if I have to use this, if I write col dash 2, so this will be the result. So if I use col 3, 3 columns will get selected. If I write col 4, 4 columns will get selected. If I write col 6, 6 column will get selected. And similarly, it goes on. Okay, so that is how it works. So if I write, okay, div col 2 means 12 column out, whole 12 columns will get selected. Okay, now row. Now let us discuss some more thing about row. So here, row is a div which contains column inside it. Okay, which contains column inside it, and div with class column has to have div with class column must be inside a row parent, and column div cannot be inside a column. So the nutshell is column cannot be inside a column. So let us summarize from first. So The rule number one is there has to be after body, there has to be a div with the class container. After div with the class container, there has to be a div with the class row. After div with the class row, there has to be column. This is, and after column, there can be a content, but if we want a column inside a column, okay, you need to create a row first. Then after that row, you need to create the columns. So this is the structure. Okay, container row, container row content. Second scenario, container row, container row column, row column content. So this is the second structure. Okay, now let us see how we go ahead. So, so here, so second. Oh, 1 minute, 1 minute. So here we have a container. Let me change to class container fluid, and we have a div with the class row. And here let me use ID red, and let me move this content here. Okay. And this ID, right? We will style it in the hash red. And in this hash red, we use a background color to red, and the height to, let's say, 500 peak. So this is the structure. Now see the output. So the output will be like that. So here the output is like that. Now here, if you see what we did, we have a parent class container. We have a parent class container fluid with a ID name red, and the content is hello world. Okay. Now let us see how this thing will work. So what container fluid is doing. So here, what is a container fluid? So here container, there are three type of containers available. Okay. So there are three type of containers available. So what these containers are doing. So the first type of container is a class container which uses, which sets a, okay, so let us discuss the first container fluid. So container fluid uses 100% of the width. Container fluid is 100% of the width. So irrespective of the screen size, see container fluid, it is using the 100% of the width size always. Okay, so let us check out how is it right or not. So let me see. Yes, it is. It is on all the screen size. It is using the 100% of the screen width. So this is called as a container fluid. Now, second the container, okay, which sets a maximum width at each responsive breakpoint. So now if I change this to container, now see how it works. See now see the transition. See this. Now for the small device, it is also like that. Okay, now the third one is the container breakpoint. So we have the breakpoint. So let me add container there. Yes. Now let us LG. So see, this is the transition phase. Now, what LG says, container LG says that till 768px, I will use the 100% of the screen size. So it is right, it is using the 100% of the screen size. Now, after 768px, it is using the 960px. So that is how it is working like that. So here we end today, and happy Holi to all of you. See you on Thursday.